Hey everyone, welcome back to Medieval Engineers, and it's been officially released onto Steam Early Access. That's right, you can pick up the game on Steam for the Early Access release, start playing to your heart's content. But I figured before I continue on my project, I'd do a little update video. I know it's a few days late, just personal stuff in the way, nothing you can do about that. So here it is, a few days late, the update video. My idea here is whenever a update comes out that releases new blocks or features for blocks into the game, I'm gonna have a little setup to showcase them all, show them off, so everyone could see exactly got put into the game. So what I have set up right here on screen is every block that you could place in the game before the game was released, the pre-release when you could buy it for 1 day only. And that's all of these blocks right here. Now, of course, there are some variant blocks, like with the roof tiles and with the railing and a couple other things like the curved doorways. There are quite a few things that have different variations to them, which is why I set up over here. We fly over really quick. Realize this isn't complete yet. I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible, so I have just very basic setup here. We have this big building, pre-release, come in through this door, and figure you'd call it like a museum of sorts. We have every block that was in the game for the pre-release, including the variations. So we have all these basic stone building blocks, and as you can see here, the first variation is this curved doorway here. You have the two different variants for the door being on the right side of the curve and being on the left side of the curve. Keep going along, got a ramp, stairs. Now the rounded stairs, there's actually two types. One for this rounded one, which would go in a corner like this right here, would be flush completely. And of course, the variant of that is it being mirrored so you can have it going either left or right. And then you have the corner rounded stairs, which is if you have a larger rounded tower, like on the project I've been working on, where you have flat pieces of wall before you come to a curve. This would fit in right there, so that would be completely flush with the wall, so you don't have little gaps, which you can't fall through right now, but it makes everything look a lot nicer. We got our thin wall pieces here for buildings, which I have separating the walls here. I'm in spectator mode, so I can just fly through. But instead of having these big blocks to build everything, because they get kind of heavy if you wanted stone walls on like a second or third floor, you have these thin walls, the windows and doorway. You also have this small archway here. Keep going on. You have the curved versions of the walls. Again, the doorway has variants with the doorway in the right, left, or middle of the curve for the wall. Then we have the window. Then we have the platforms, the stone platforms. I couldn't put them on the floor, just the way the game works right now. They kind of float up in the air, so I wasn't able to put them on the floor, so I figured I'd put them on the wall in the middle-ish, more or less. So have the variants of the platforms, which are for the straight pieces. There's three: the straight piece, the corner, then the inverted corner. Then you have the rounded platform, which I built a tiny little tower here just to support it so that it wouldn't fall apart from structural integrity. But you have the platform, which there are no variants for the rounded platform, and then the walls, I forget what they're called, let me check real quick. Battlement sides. I guess just battlements, the center side and rounded battlements, which for rounded there are no different ones, but for this center and side one, there's two variants each, a straight and then a corner piece for them. Going on, we have the wood walls, again with window, door. We have the wall triangles, corners. Sorry, I keep forgetting the names. Wall top and wall slope, which really these are mainly used for the roofs, which we'll get to in a second. Then we have these floor pieces, straight square one. We have the rounded one, and then this corner one. Honestly, this one right here, this is one piece, but it has two variants. I have no idea where you would use this in a build. I've been trying to figure it out, and I just can't for the life of me figure out where you would even use it. Same with this. Makes a little bit sense in a round tower. If you have the stairs coming up in a cylinder shape, you have this around the corners of it so that you don't cover it up, but you still have the wood effect. Going on, we have the wood handrail and then the sloped handrail. Again, two variants, just mirrored. We have the wooden stairs, and here we come to the different roof pieces. This first one is a roof tile. I've used the wood sidings and slopes to make sure that it doesn't fall apart from structural integrity. There's two variants of it, the corner piece and the inverted corner piece, which is kind of sticking into the wall, the battlements there, but you can just ignore that. Again, side pieces to hold it together. Then there's the top, roof top, I think it's called, but it's basically just a cap piece for top of a roof. There are no wooden side pieces where I could just do one of these cones. The roof tile corner round tall. As you can see, it's just a quarter of it. So if you want something like that, you just four corners, rotate it for the four corners, and you get the nice cone top like that. But there's no wall pieces where you could just do that slope at the correct angle, where you could just do one or two of these. You can actually do two. If you go like that, and then just have a wall come up like that, it's not going to be, if you want to do it like on the side of your castle or something like that, then that would actually work pretty well. But if you just want one or three pieces or whatever, there's no wall piece where you can cover it up and have it be completely flush at the correct angles. Sorry about that, that'll mess up these roof tiles a little bit. But again, the roof tile corner round tall has only one variant. There's not different versions of it, and it only comes in the tile version. There's 3 different roofs in the game currently. The tile, and the next one here is wood, and then the last one's hay. The cone one only has it in tile form. But again, the wooden roof pieces, again, straight corner, inverted corner, roof cap, and exact same thing with the hay. And for pre-release, that was all of the major large blocks that were in the game at pre-release. Moving on from that, in the same area but different category, we have the dynamic pieces, the small blocks, which do not take up an entire cube, like this one right here. We have the wood timber. We have the timber pieces, which these are all the variants. You can have just one length one, and it goes all the way up to 10 long. And you have, those are the timbers, these are the brace timbers. I'm not sure on the exact name, but there's 2 variants, the smaller one and the larger one, and you can rotate them any which way to try and get the correct angles on the cut there to line it up with your builds to support them. Moving on, we have the rope drum right here for building gates, pulling carts, anything like that. Basically, you connect it to a rope end, which we have right here. That piece right there. You connect it to something like that, and you put the turn cross on it, and you can spin it, and you can pull whatever is attached to the rope end, or lower, or whatever. Again, that's all part of dynamic blocks. It gets a little complicated. Right there is the weight block. Basically just a metal cube, just weigh something down, give it more weight. People use that for like building trebuchets as a counterweight. I'm using it on a current build just to add weight to the bottom of a gate so that it doesn't tip over as easily. Last two things here, we have the wheel, so you can build carts, wheelbarrows, that sort of thing. Then the giant spoon! No, actually, that's a catapult head. You can fit cannonballs into there so that you can launch them at your enemies. Over here we have the windmill blade. Windmills currently aren't supported in the game, even though the block is in. You can't get wind power yet, but they have the blocks in game, so it will be coming in a future update. So until then, you can just mess around with them. Pretend you have a windmill for now. Two cannonball variants. It's one block, but it has these two variants, the large and the small. And you place them dynamically so that you can free place them anywhere you want. Drop them into the catapult head to have them launch away. These ones are set in static mode just so that they don't move around, since this is kind of a museum. So they're basically fused to the ground. This is actually a large block, like this stone cube, but it kind of fits in with all the other dynamic blocks. It's a rotor piece. Basically, this is where you attach the windmill blades to have this spin to power your contraptions and everything. Currently, it doesn't work. The only purpose of it is if you're in your character mode, you can press T at the top here and it'll set it spinning, but only in one direction. It will only spin in one way. You can't reverse how it spins or anything yet. Future update, probably gonna remove that feature altogether and then have it so that the wind blades will rotate it around. And then, of course, they'll also add other blocks like gear crank corners and stuff so that you can reverse the rotation through adding extra blocks to turn it around. Last couple pieces here for the pre-release museum is the rope torsion spring. Basically, you have this giant rope here with the wooden blocks sticking out. You add some more to the end of it here, like that, and then you can add the catapult head to the top and then a rope end, and then pull it back with a rope. And when you disconnect it, the tension builds up when you pull it back so that it'll spring back forward to its original position. That's your basic catapult. There's a lot more stuff you can do with it. I've been trying to experiment a little bit with it, but everything's still a little buggy now, so it can still get a bit frustrating. Right here we have the catch block, which basically is your axle. Again, you add on a timber piece to there, and it allows it to spin freely. Kind of hard to aim sometimes, but put the timber piece on there, and anything you attach to it will be able to spin freely. Just if you're using them, you got to raise it up from the floor a little bit. You got to give it a little bit of room so that it can spin freely, or else it'll be knocking against the ground or the wall. So you got to raise it up and away from any other surfaces to get it to work. This is also a catch block, but this is the locking catch block. I'm not in character mode, so I can't do it, but this little handle here has a selector around it if you're in your character mode. You can press T on that, and it will lock the block, the rotation, for one direction. You'll still be able to spin it freely in the opposite direction, so you kind of have to mess with the rotations because there is no mirror image for this, but you got to mess with the rotation of this lock catch block so that you can lock in the direction you want. It'd be really useful for gates when you're like a portcullis gate that goes up and down, when you want to lock it in the up position and then detach the ropes, and then if you say you come under attack and you want to just drop the gate really quick, you can unlock this and it'll spin freely, and the weight of the gate will pull down on its own. Anyway, that's that for pre-release. All the blocks, all the block variants in a nice little museum setting. This isn't the final version of how I want it to look. There's still a few block pieces that we've seen in the trailer that haven't been released to us yet, so this is just a fill-in building. Again, I wanted to get a video out for you guys, so this is just the fill-in building to show the museum. On this side over here, not as big, but we have the early access build, the first official release of early access to the public. These are all the blocks that they added in this build, and mostly they're decoration blocks, just to fill in your builds a little bit to make things look more alive and not just so empty and dead. Here we have the square stone pillar, which is my last video I was looking forward to help with one of my builds. Basically just pillar, so if you have, like, I use them over here for this archway, it leaves a small gap here between the wall pieces, and you can use the square pillar to fill in. There's actually two here because of how the blocks mesh together. This one on the left was added automatically by using the wall pieces. The one on the right I added using this block to come all the way down so that you don't have a gap and that's not free floating in the air, causing stress on the building and probably causing it to collapse. Anyway, there's that block. Then there's the rounded one, which really is only going to be used, in my mind, I guess you can use it as like a support pillar for certain things, but it's obviously designed to work with the rounded staircases to finish them so they extend all the way to the top or bottom of whatever building you have them in. Moving on from those two, which are actually more construction related than just aesthetic decoration blocks. Moving on to the strictly decoration blocks, we have a few things here. We have the bed, which you can use, build barracks or little houses or whatever. You have the basic table, you can use it as a desk, a dining room table. Again, just they're basic decoration blocks to work through the game. I'll actually come back over to this one with my player character. This is a chest. You can actually interact with it, and that's how you can't store objects yet because there is no inventory system yet for survival, but currently if you go there with your character and click on it, you can change the color of your avatar. So again, just decoration, aesthetically pleasing. You have the chair, just basic. You can lay down. You can't lay down in the bed or sit on the chair or anything yet. None of that's in the game. This is all just for decoration. You have the barrel over here. Again, no storage or anything, just decoration. You have these 3 light sources, which currently just turn on and off. If you come and activate them, you can turn them on and off. They don't really provide any surrounding or ambiotic... I'm making up words now. They don't provide any actual light to the environment yet. They will in the future so that you can light up your buildings and outposts and everything and actually see where you're going when you're inside a dark building, but currently they're just there for decoration. Last 2 pieces, you have the basic flag here. From the development trailer, this is not the only flag that there's going to be. We saw multiple variants, so look forward to that in a future update, but currently this is the flag we get. I can't change the color or design pattern or anything, but again, future update, they'll probably let us have a lot of fun with that, changing it, putting different designs and colors and everything on it. Last object is the king statue. It's a big statue, king, with his crown and his sword, all majestic looking with the cloak sweeping about his feet. There's currently a slight glitch with this object though. If we come here and bring it out, as you can see, it's actually supposed to be a almost a gray, almost white color. But anytime you place them, most of the time, it'll come out in like this reddish, darker color, which seems like a glitch. Pretty sure it's supposed to come out like you see it displayed there. So I'm not quite sure if that's just a glitch, because in the pre-release there were a couple bugs that people were complaining about where their entire builds would suddenly turn red in the middle of building them. So it might be a side effect of that they just haven't quite worked it out completely from the system. Anyway, that's all the blocks up to our current build. Hope you enjoyed this little update and overview for all of the building materials. Not sure if I'm going to do a video about how objects mesh together with the blocks within blocks feature. See different ways that they can work together. Not sure if I'm going to do something like that or if I'm just going to go back to my building projects to let you guys see what I've been up to, the advancements I've made. One last thing is, one feature they updated for the release is if you press the N key on your keyboard, it brings up structural integrity mode. It highlights all of the blocks that currently are affected by structural integrity, and it's color-coded to let you know how much stress is being placed where on your buildings. As you can see, this sort of gray color on the blocks down here, that means that the block is actually part of the terrain and embedded in the terrain like that. Any other color indicates the stress being placed on a block. Yes, that second one's partially in terrain as well. Not sure how. Maybe right there. There's a little bit. Anyway, going up from green is structurally sound and stable. Going from green to yellow, things are starting to get a bit more heavy and starting to strain the pieces a bit more. And then red, you can see there's a lot of strain on an object anymore, and you're risking total collapse, and it also signifies a very weak point in your building, which I will demonstrate in just a moment. Let me fly over here. You'll recognize the build over here that I've been working on for my gatehouse. Come to character tools, pull out the large projectile thrower. As you can see, these towers, entrance towers that I built, down at the bottom, these base parts above the terrain are under a lot of stress. Very dark red, so it's not going to stand up well under siege. Looking at this and understanding a little better how it works, I probably, for the base, would have done full-size blocks, like this cube, and like these rounded pieces here. Done full-size blocks like this for the first couple floors of this, just to provide it with a lot more strength and support before building up on top of it like that. Nothing to do about it now. I guess I could tear everything down, rebuild the base, and then build everything back up. But that would be a heck of a lot of work, and currently for this design, I'm just trying to get this initial project finished to show you guys, and we'll just leave it as is and try and work it out later. Maybe edit the map to turn off structural integrity so that I can come in and just delete the lower pieces and replace them real quick. Might end up doing that. Anyway, show you guys structural integrity a bit. I haven't really destroyed anything in this game yet, which is actually a heck of a lot of fun, so we'll go ahead and use this projectile thrower at the top of this tower, which was pretty structurally sound. See everything falling apart, but you can see, yes, there's a lot of damage, but only where we just hit it with the cannonball. There was no surrounding damage really to anything else. Draw on structural integrity real quick. You can see the corners here are really red, so if we come back a little bit, charge up our shot and fire at where it's structurally weak. You can see it's doing a lot more damage and took out the entire tower in just one shot. So when you're building, you really, really want to pay attention to structural integrity. Again, if you press N on your keyboard, green means you're okay, red means to reinforce. Otherwise, you're going to lose an entire tower with just one well-placed cannonball. Alright, that's pretty much everything I had planned to show you guys. Just one last thing. With the decoration blocks that were added, they can all be free placed in dynamic mode, so that they're dynamic objects that can be pushed and shoved around, rolled down hills. I had this little idea here from working on that museum for little storage sheds. Just a simple roof tile with the corner walls and the doorway. Fit a couple barrels in here that can be shoved around, and then this larger one over here because I wanted to get a lot more barrels in there just to push everything around, because push everything around a little too much. Anyway, guys, that's it. Just gonna play in my little barrel pit here for a little bit, pushing things around, because it's actually kind of fun. I don't know why. Simple minds, simple pleasures, I guess. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. See you around.